Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of September. It feels already like a long time ago. I did read quite a bit in September, and some of them I can't talk to you about. By now, you should know that I participated in a wonderful collaboration project hosted by Danny Dabbles called Battle of the Booktubers, and I am in round 4, and it is currently happening right now in October. My first vlog went up where I talk about The Power of One by Bryce Courtenay and Foster by Claire Keegan. You'll have to watch that vlog to see my thoughts on those. And I did read 4 other books for that project. 2 of them were library books and 2 I have here. So that's 6 books that I read towards the end of August and in September that I'm not going to talk about here in this wrap up because there will be vlogs coming for each of those. But I will, however, talk about the 7 other books that I read throughout the month, 4 of which were series books for series September, and 2 of them finished a series. So let's go ahead and start with my series books that I read. I'm really thrilled that I finished the Beartown trilogy by reading The Winners. I really loved Beartown and Us Against You, but it's been over a year since I've read those, and this has been just waiting for me to get to it, and this was the month. I finally completed this trilogy. Again, Frederick Brockman blows me away. I know that this is not a series for everybody, but he just writes in a way, and it's translated from Swedish. It's just written in a way that totally captures me. It was quite a chunker and quite a long audiobook, but I was invested right from the beginning. He has super short chapters, and almost every chapter ends with a zinger or a cliffhanger, a deep thought, or something that makes me want to continue and keep going. So you just feel like you can't put it down. I'm also glad that the beginning of this one had some backstory. Because it had been so long since I read the first 2, I was worried that this conclusion of the trilogy, I was going to forget stuff, and there probably was stuff that I forgot. But I got wrapped right back up in this town of Beartown and its hockey team and the people that we have been following in the first few books. Some of them who had moved away or gotten older, now coming back to deal with the issues in this story, which is all kind of stemming from things from the first book. In particular, the rival between Beartown and a neighboring town, Head, I forget how to say it, and their rival hockey teams, and which one is better, and where are we going to put our money, and all of those things. And it kind of comes to a head in this book. This, again, had me crying, as Bachman always does, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Fabulous conclusion to the trilogy. I can't really tell you too much about the plot because it is a 3rd book in the series. The other series that I finished that was also amazing and a beautiful conclusion to the series was The One and Only Family by Catherine Applegate. The first book is The One and Only Ivan, where we meet this gorilla who lives in this shopping mall in the Midwest. While there, he meets other characters. Bob the dog, who's down here. We've got Ruby. Over the course of the last couple of books, Ivan now lives in a zoo, and has a mate, and they're about to have kids. So this is about the family and still the connections between these animals, and it is written in verse, kind of free verse, and filled with lovely illustrations. I mean, here's Bob playing with a dog toy. Just really cute illustrations and a lovely, beautiful story of this found family at the zoo. And I loved it. I loved it so much. Oh, it's kind of sad to say goodbye to these characters, but it's not goodbye forever. I'm sure I'll reread those at some point. They're just beautiful. I carried on with the Shady Hollow series and read the 3rd book, Mirror Lake by Juno Black. This might have been my favorite of the series so far. We continue to follow Vera Vixen, the fox, who's a journalist and amateur sleuth, getting to be not so amateur, as in each book she helps figure out the crime. She is kind of dating the deputy, Orville, who's a bear. And all of the characters in this are woodland creatures. In this one, we follow a rat who has some eccentricities about her, and she claims that the rat who says that he's her husband is actually not her husband, but he looks just like, but it is her husband. So like Is she going mad? What is going on? Vera tries to help figure out, why is this rat woman saying this? Like, why is she scared now of her husband? What happened? So this is the story of it. I really enjoyed this one. And I love those characters as well. A fun, cozy read that's a little different because they're all animals living in the woods. And the fourth series book that I read in September is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. I ended up doing an unofficial buddy read of this with Jen from Reading in Chaos. I forget her channel. I will link it down below. But Jen and I ended up chatting about this because we were both reading it this month. So in this fantastical world that we discover in the first book, along with Amari, she is a magician. And it turns out that there is quite a lot of prejudice against magicians because of some events that have happened in the past. And now there's like almost racial tension in like, she's being kicked out of school or having her privileges being restricted simply because of the fact that she's a magician. And so what is going on? Like, why is there all of this animosity towards magicians? It's not all of a sudden, but it has definitely escalated. So there's a lot of political drama in this one as we're still at this magical summer camp. This was a delight to read as well. I think I did like the first one a bit better, but it was still very good and very pacey and like kept me interested. And I don't remember what I gave it, maybe 4 stars. It was a very good sequel and I'm definitely interested in continuing. I love the creativity, love the magical world, love Amari. She's not a perfect character by any means. She's flawed, but learning to trust friends and give people a second chance and learning about forgiveness and bravery and standing up for what's right. I really enjoyed this one as well. And that's the end of the series books that I read, but I did have 3 others to talk about. The first one is The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. This was my Patreon book club book for the month of September. I just really enjoyed this story of this research librarian she's from the Ukraine, maybe? It's near the beginning of World War II. Just before the beginning of World War II. But she keeps trying to get a divorce from her husband and he keeps stringing her along, but he really wants nothing to do with her or her son. And so she is determined to be a mother and a father for her son. And as part of that, she takes up this marksmanship course and has a talent for being a marksman. She decides she wants to do her part for her country. She is helping to fight against the Germans who are invading. And so she becomes a sniper and she's very, very good at it. And I know some people in my Patreon had a hard time with that because she has to kill a lot of people. And Kate Quinn does not beat around the bush. She gives it to you raw. Like it's pretty in your face. The other storyline that kind of converges eventually is that there was a Russian delegation that came to the United States during FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt's time in office. Well, FDR's time in office. Mila is a part of that delegation. And there is a different sniper in America who's going to try to kill the president and frame it on Mila. Over the course of this delegation, we're getting to see through the sniper's eyes what he's doing, and then her budding friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt kind of comes to light as well. I really liked this book. I thought it was really well written. I loved the author's note at the end. I halfway through almost like set the book down to go Google this woman because it's based on a real life woman's story. And the author's note did a really good job of explaining what parts of the book were based on fact. And it's surprising how much of it was actual events and people and things that had happened. I loved it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, something like that. 4.5, 5. I don't think it was 5. I think it was 4.5. Maybe it was 5. It was really good. One of these I actually read in August. I just forgot about it. So I'll talk about the last one that I read in September was Orphans of the Tide by Struan Murray. This is a bit of a fantasy middle grade. Our main girl is Ellie. She lives on this city, and the city is an island, and it's all that Ellie has ever known. It's all the world that she thinks there is. She has been told that there's nothing else. It's kind of like a mountain in the middle of the sea, and the city is built on this mountain. Until one day, a boy washes in with the tide who was trapped inside the belly of a whale. Well, the whale washes up, and there's a boy trapped inside. And Ellie is able to figure all that out. I forget why. The people of the city are very scared. They think that this is a myth and a legend coming to cause even more chaos. But Ellie thinks the boy is innocent, and so she tries to prove that he's innocent and tries to rescue him. It's very adventurous, very confusing at first. I was like, I don't understand exactly what this legend is, what we're talking about. It does come together before the book is over. I will say that it wasn't my favorite middle grade, but it was interesting for sure. It was very filled with myth and legend. To my knowledge, it wasn't really based on any others. It's not like a retelling. It just had this legend feel to it of this evil entity trying to attack the people, but it shows up in different forms. And when it's there, it causes a lot of chaos. And so all of the people think that this boy coming out of the whale is this recreation of this evil entity. But Ellie is convinced that it's not. It's hard to fight against the whole town and question her beliefs that she's held for so long. It's very fast paced and it kept my attention all the way through. So I think I probably ended up giving this one about 3.5 stars. It was good, but ultimately somewhat forgettable. It didn't really stick with me. And then finally, at some point, I read The Summer of Songbirds because I had it in my pile over here, but I forgot to talk about it in my August wrap up. So I did read The Summer of Songbirds this summer by Christy Woodson Harvey. This is another NetGalley book. Yay! And in this one, we follow 4 friends who have grown up going to this camp. They all have moved away. 3 friends, maybe? 3 friends. 4 women. But the camp director is one of them. So these 3 friends and the camp director. The camp is now really struggling financially, possibly going to have to be sold. And these 3 friends come together to help to kind of face things that's going on in their lives at the moment, but also to come behind the camp and see what they can do to raise the money to get the money that is needed so that this camp can continue to be important in the lives of many more children to come. So there's like a long lost love in here. There's women coming face to face with their life right now and the decisions that they've made and the consequences of those decisions. But it really is about this friendship between these women and how camp was such an important part of their lives. And I love that because camp was such an important part of my life growing up. So I really connected to this book. I thought it was a lovely story. And I think I ended up giving it 4 stars when it's all said and done. I really enjoyed it. Definitely a summertime read, definitely a campy read, and nostalgic for those of you who might have gone to camp as well. I really enjoyed that. So here are the books that I have, plus the 6 other books for Battle of the Booktubers that I've read. And I would say that it's a successful month. Maybe a little bit smaller when you just look at this stack, but add 6 more to that and it doesn't look so small. But 4 series books and 2 series finishers. So I'm really thrilled about that. I think it was a great reading month altogether. I'd love to chat with you down in the comments below if you've read any of these or you want to read any of them, or you think the same or differently as me, or if you have any more questions about them, or if you just want to say hello, that's fine too. I love talking with you down in the comments. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I really, really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye!